it acts as the interface. Yes.
Voice audible இருக்கா பசங்களுக்கு கேட்டுக்கோங்க.
Yes ma'am, it's audible ma'am.
எனக்கு வாய்ஸ் வரல அதனால தான் கேட்டேன்.
Okay.
சுபா full screen கொண்டுவாங்க.
நெட்வொர்க்கா இருக்கனால பிரச்சனையா இருக்கு. ரைட். ஓகே.
சுபா?
Yes ma'am.
Good morning.
Ma'am, good morning ma'am.
Full screen கொண்டுவாங்க. உங்க presentation வந்து full viewல இல்ல.
Yes ma'am. அது full screen போட்டா என்னால chat parallel பார்க்க முடியல ma'am. அதனால போட்டுட்டேன். Okay.
அப்படி அதுக்கு ஒரு ஆப்ஷன் இருக்கு. I will tell you later.
Okay ma'am. So yesterday we saw the abstract data type. It acts as the interface. It's a mathematical model. In other simple words, we can tell ADT is a collection of data and different operations that can be performed on the data. It does not tell about the implementation or any programming language. Then we saw the list. What are the operations that can be done on list? Insertion, deletion, searching, like that. And two methods for implementing the list: array-based implementation and then linked list-based implementation. Now in today's session, we are going to cover these topics. How an algorithm is analyzed, what are the computational complexity that an algorithm faces, and there are different notations to find that complexity. Those are called as asymptotic notations. Then I will touch that array implementation of list, because in the first class itself I thought of saying before getting into the data structure details, we all must be aware of the algorithms. Yes. In the previous regulation and all, your subject itself is the data structures and algorithms. It was called as DSA, data structures and algorithms. But now they have reduced it to particularly data structure. They have confined it to data structure. But you must be aware of some of the important concepts and terminologies with respect to algorithm. Because without knowing algorithm, we can't go for program execution. Hope you understand. You will study this paper, design and analysis of algorithm, in your next semester, but here it is mandatory, because in data structures you will cross in all the different data types of data structures, you will cross what is space complexity, time complexity, like that. So only I have specifically included. Actually I thought of mentioning this in the first class itself, no problem, because we are going to start that list tag and all hereafter only, the actual routines and the actual implementation. So now we are going to see in detail analysis of algorithm. Normally, before writing any program, before writing any logic, we have to write the algorithm. But normally we students, we practice in the reverse order. Jasmine ma'am, ask ma'am to unmute. Ma'am, Jayashree ma'am. Jayashree ma'am. Jasmine ma'am, call Jayashree ma'am and ask her to mute the mic.
Ma'am, I will inform ma'am, you continue.
Okay ma'am. Okay. So for any program, we must need to write an algorithm first. We all know that algorithm is a step-by-step procedure of a program, or a very informal description of any solution. Let's wait for 1 minute, then we'll continue. I think ma'am is speaking to someone else. Jayashree ma'am. Students, let's wait for another 1 minute. We will start again.
ஆமா நீ இப்ப கேக்குதா கால் பண்ணு பாப்பா என்ன
Jayashri ma'am,
வா
you are in second section Google Meet ma'am. Jasmine ma'am, you also try ma'am's number and call her. Any one of you try.
பாப்பா
Okay, students,
கேக்குது
sorry for
இந்த
the
யூனிட்ல
inconvenience.
வந்திருக்கு இல்லையா இப்ப
Bye ma'am.
நான் வந்து
Mistake
இது வரைக்கும்
ma'am.
நடத்திட்டேன் ஆர்கனைசேஷன்
Thank you.
இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் மாடல் நீ இந்த ASN.1 வருதுல 1 2 3 4 அஞ்சாவது இது அப்ஸ்ட்ராக்ட் சின்டாக்ஸ் ரொட்டேஷன் சிலபஸ் கையில வச்சியா
Okay. So first we have to write algorithm before going into any program.
முடிச்சிட்டேன் பாப்பா ரைட்டா
Normally we are for any program we may have different algorithms. For any program, suppose if I am going to give a program to find the Fibonacci series, or just simply to do all the arithmetic operations as yesterday told, to do addition, subtraction, multiplication and division, you are asked to write the algorithm. Yes, and different people may write different algorithms. It's not necessary that the algorithm should be same. A program can have different algorithms. That only I have mentioned it as A1, A2, A3, A4 and A5. That means different algorithms. Algorithm 1, algorithm 2, 3, 4 like that. In that you have to choose which algorithm is the best one. Best in the sense it has to save the time and it has to save the space. That only we are going to see now. How we are going to tackle all those things. Somebody, you may use the functions to implement all those operations. You can write it in a single program itself inside the main. Somebody can use structure like that. So based on that, your algorithm will differ. But choosing of algorithm is most important. That is very, very important. It's a separate subject itself. How an algorithm is analyzed, how an algorithm is designed. Just I am going to give an introduction about that part only. For writing an efficient algorithm, you need to concentrate more on the steps that we are going to take. If I am going to write the algorithm, those steps should be very fast. The execution time should be very less. The computation time should be reduced. In that way, you have to choose the algorithm. For that, we are going to see computational complexity. That means during program computation, we may face two major issues. We means the programmers may face two major issues. Number one, time complexity, and number two, space complexity. These are the two very, very two important words that you have to remember hereafter. Already, if you might cross, it's well and good. Hereafter, remember these words. Don't forget. Time complexity means how much time does an algorithm need to finish. We are not at all caring about the program. Just we are entering into the algorithm session only. So by choosing the algorithm itself, you have to pay more attention. Yes, the time complexity is how much time needed to compute, how much time needed to finish the particular execution. That is called as time complexity. And another one is space complexity, because for any program whichever we are doing, it is obviously saved in the memory, either in the main memory or secondary memory. So how much memory space is needed for an algorithm to do its entire computation? That is called as space complexity. Among these two, both are most important issues. This time complexity we have to focus in a very large manner. First, let's see space complexity, then we move on to time complexity, because in the time complexity only we are going to see that asymptotic notations. Now, space complexity, as told, it represents the memory space required by the algorithm. I didn't mention anywhere here memory space required by the program, because in the algorithm part itself, we are finalizing each and everything. So only our program is efficient enough to run in a very quick time. Yes. So how much memory space needed for an algorithm in its entire life cycle? That means for its entire computation. That space is calculated by summing two components. I have mentioned two bullet points, a fixed part and a variable part. A fixed part is nothing but the memory space that we are using to store our normal variables, constant strings and all, etc. So that part is called as fixed part. Yes, to store with certain data and variables which are independent of the size of the problem. It does not depend on the problem size. Whatever may be the problem size, I am going to declare some 5 variables. I am going to give some 2 constants like that. So that the memory space will be allotted for those variables and constants. Yes, so that is called as the fixed part. One more thing is variable part. It is also a memory space needed by the variables, but here that variable size depends on the size of the problem. That means what? How can we determine? Only during the runtime. So that is used in dynamic memory allocation and also runtime compilation. For that we are using the variable part, because at the initial stage we don't know the size of the variables or size of the array like that. That size depends on the size of the problem. That part is called as variable part. By summing that fixed part and variable part, we are getting the total space. Total space required by the algorithm, that is called as the space complexity. Normally, for normal problems, we use only the fixed part because our array size is fixed, our variables are fixed like that. For doing simple calculations, for some dynamic programming and all, we use that variable part also. This is that space complexity. Next one is time complexity. How much time required by the algorithm to do its entire execution, to complete its entire execution. So that is called as the time complexity. All listen these points very, very carefully, because it is much related to all the data structure concepts we are going to see. Yes, it's not actually in your textbook, but it is very important. Questions will be surely asked from this point also. So how much time required for a particular algorithm? We can represent it as some function t. Assume it as a numerical function capital T of n. Yes, n means number of steps or number of iterations that are needed. So how the T of n is going to be measured? For that, we are going to take 3 cases. The T of n is the number of steps that are needed to complete the execution, needed to do the computation. So that is mentioned as T of n. In the diagram, I have mentioned it as f of n, g of n like that. You can have different notation, but you have to mention it clearly, what the n represent, what the t represent like that. So in this time complexity, there are 3 important cases we have to handle. So number 1 is best case. Best case means minimum time required for a program execution. The next one is worst case, the maximum time required for program execution. And in between those 2 things, we have one term called as average case. The average time required for the program execution. Yes, let's relate it with a simple example, a very common example. Assume that I'm going to give an assignment today by Friday. I will ask you to submit on or before Monday. So today I am giving in another 10 minutes. Assume that by 11 o'clock I am posting an assignment. I ask you to submit on or before Monday 10 a.m. Yes, let's assume this case study. Among 158 of you, few may be interested to submit today itself. Yes, I hope few of you will interestedly do the particular assignment on time, and you can submit before the deadline. The deadline I have given is Monday. Yes. So here Friday, today Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday morning. 3 days are there. Suppose if few of you are submitting by today afternoon itself, in some eagerness, in some interest, out of interest, you people may submit the assignment today itself. So that is called as the best case. How much time, minimum time required to complete your assignment? That is calculated as the best case. Yes, worst case means what? Maximum time needed. The deadline I have given is Monday 10 a.m. Few of you, there are few students who will submit by 9:59 a.m. also, or 9 a.m. also, 8 a.m. like the 10 a.m. exactly. Few people may submit. Okay, so that is called as the worst case. The maximum time required to do a task. The task may be not only the program execution, to do any activity, either real-time activity or just I am relating with the real-time activity. Average case means what? Submission of assignment either on Saturday evening or Sunday morning, like that. Between that minimum time and the maximum time. So that is called as the average case. The same three scenario only we are going to use in the program execution. For any program, hereafter if you are asked to write a C program or write a Python program, you have to check the time complexity. In data structures, this time complexity plays a very vital role. Because as told, many of us may write many different algorithms, but some algorithm it may take some 100 seconds to complete. A few algorithm it may take some 50 seconds. Some algorithm it may take some 2 to 3 seconds to complete. So which one is best? The 2 to 3 seconds. Yes, that is your best case. The minimum time required. So these are the three cases with respect to time complexity. Got it? Best case means minimum time required. But for any program, which one you have to analyze to the core? Can anyone unmute and tell? For any program execution, at the worst, which case you have to analyze? Is only best case enough? Students, you can unmute and you can tell. Okay, hereafter I'll pick the names. You have to unmute. If you are not answering, we will treat that entire session as absent. We won't allow you for other sessions also for data structures. You are making us to do different ideas. Think of different ideas to implement on you. Okay. So for any program execution, best case only is not at all enough. For all program execution, you have to think of worst case also. Then only you can reach the solution that your program will come to an end. Your program will get executed. Yes. For mentioning these three cases, best case, average case, and worst case, for all algorithms, as said, you have to work out till the worst case. For these three cases, we are going to use three notations. Those are called as asymptotic notations. Asymptotic, your curve will differ. That is your asymptotic curve or asymptotic, anything. So it is used to calculate the runtime complexity of an algorithm. These are notations are used to calculate the running time complexity. How much maximum time, how much time needed. Either it's the maximum time or minimum time or average time. For that, we are using three notations. I have mentioned here, big O notation, omega notation, and then theta notation. Those are the three notations. Remember, big O, omega, and theta. These are in the next slides. Yes, big O notation means it determines the worst case time complexity. Worst case means what? How much maximum time needed for an algorithm. So, and maximum time means what? You have some, you may determine some time. I have fixed that particular deadline. Above that, how much people are using. So, to express the maximum time to reach that particular execution. So, that is denoted by big O notation. In a curve, we will see on graph. In that graph, it denotes the upper bound. Because I am having some line, above that line only, I am going to mention that maximum time complexity. For lower bound means what? Minimum time complexity. Yes. So this is your big O notation. Big O. OH means you have to pronounce it also as big O. Don't say it as O. Hereafter, if capital O is there, O of n, O of log n, like that, it will be there. You have to pronounce it as big O notation. So big O for worst case. Yes. Then omega for best case. Best case means what? Minimum time required. Minimum means very least time. So only it will give the lower bound. No need to go for the upper bound. Upper bound means extreme time. Lower bound means very minimal time needed. Yes, so that is given as omega notation. Yes, I forgot. Here you are using one function f of n. F of n less than or equal to c into g of n. That means what? We'll look at that slide. I'll explain it there. No need to care about this equation now. Just remember the concept. Omega means best case time complexity. So best case means only least time needed. Between these two, between omega and big O notation, you are having a notation called what? Theta notation to denote the average case time complexity. All these things is mentioned in the diagram. First, look at that middle diagram. Middle one. Middle one is your O. There are three notations given. Yes, f of n equal to big O of g of n. In the extreme right side, what is there? F of n equal to omega g of n. In the left side, f of n equal to theta g of n. Yes, now look at that middle one itself. Big O means what? To express the upper bound of the algorithm running time. Look at the graph where g of n is there. It's above that f of n. F of n is our function. That our normal time that is required to do our computation. If it is exceeding, yes, if it is reaching the maximum time, that is denoted as g of n. To equate that one, I have used one constant called as cg of n. Yes, here g of n is above. That is given in the reverse order. F of n is less than or equal to c into g of n. That means g of n is above that f of n. Greater time needed. Maximum time needed. Got it? Look at that right side of the diagram. The last diagram. Third diagram. F of n equal to omega into g of n. Look at the same representation only. So only I particularly put all these three diagrams in a single side. Here, where is g of n? In the lower bound. That means what? Omega notation. Omega means what? To me, best case. Best case time complexity means minimum time required. Got it? So f of n equal to omega into g of n. We are using some constant to normalize the values. Then come to that first diagram. This is what? Average case analysis. Just the combination of the second and the third diagram. In second diagram, g of n is greater than f of n. In third diagram, g of n is less than, in the lower bound, less than the g of n. So obviously in omega, you will be having what? F of n between these two g of n's. To differentiate both that functions, we are using two different constant names. You can give it as c into g of n, but to differentiate which function is which one. That is, which function is omega, which function is big O. For that, we are using two constants. To avoid confusion, we have used two constants, c1 g of n and c2 g of n. Just remember this diagram. It's enough. It's more than enough. Big O means what? Worst case. Maximum time needed. Omega means best case. Minimum time needed. Theta means average case. Between the minimum and the maximum time. So average time needed. All these things are what? For doing the complexity, time complexity, to calculate the time complexity. What is time complexity? How much time needed to complete the execution. All these things are represented by these asymptotic notations. These are the common asymptotic notations. No need to worry about all these things. Just look at the first three itself enough now. For any constant function, in the right side, I have mentioned one symbol. That symbol denotes what? O, big O. Because for any algorithm, you have to analyze the till worst case. Got it? So only we have put that worst case analysis. Big O of 1. For any constant means that value only. It needs only one number of times to complete the execution. For any logarithmic equation, for any logarithmic function, we are using big O of log n. No need to worry about this logarithmic also now. Better we take that constant and linear. Third one. For any linear function, my worst case time complexity is big O of n. At the end, I will ask one simple question related to that. If you try to answer, or else I will answer at the end. Think of any linear equation that you have crossed in your program so far. You have done so many programs using this linear equation. You have to interpret how this big O of n comes. Yes. Let's have one small activity now. I'll give one just 2 minutes time. Same thing only. Just 5 questions only are posted in this chat. Students, are you listening? Submit that form in another 2 minutes. Time is 11:03. By 11:05, I will stop. Make it fast. So the things we have discussed so far in the last 2 days, just a very, very simple questions only, like that first quiz.
Ma'am,
Yes, Trutika.
you need permission varudhu ma'am.
No, I gave permission. You can just click it in the chat itself, ma. Anybody else?
Yes, ma'am. Unit permission is coming, ma'am.
But I have given it.
மேம் அது ஆக்சுவலா எப்படின்னா இப்போ கிளிக் பண்ணும்போது லிங்க் வந்து கூகுள் குரோம்ல ஓபன் ஆகும் மேம்.
எஸ் அரவிந்த்.
கூகுள் குரோம்ல வந்து நம்ம காலேஜ் மெயில் ஐடி சைன் இன் பண்ணிருக்க மாட்டோம். ஸோ இந்த குவிஸ் வந்து காலேஜ் மெயில் ஐடியில மட்டும் தான் ஆக்சஸ் பண்ண முடியும். ஸோ கூகுள் குரோம்லயும் சைன் இன் பண்ணா மட்டும் தான் இது ஓபன் பண்ண முடியும்.
Okay, but you have access. You are accessing this Google Classroom itself through your mail ID only. I am not using in Chrome. I am using it in Edge only.
இல்ல மேம், அப்ப நீங்க எட்ஜ்ல சைன் இன் பண்ணிருப்பீங்க மேம்.
ஓஹோ.
அந்த மெயில் ஐடி இருந்தா மட்டுமே தான் வந்து அந்த ஆக்சஸ் ஃபைலே ஓபன் ஆகும் மேம்.
Okay, okay. If I use it in Chrome, will it be easy for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then I will give it at the end. No need to worry now. Yes? It will take another 2 minutes. I will give it at the end.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
I will continue just 2 or 3 slides more. Hope you understand this asymptotic notations. I need clear answers from your side because, as told, this part is most important for any data structure. No need to worry about the quiz now. I will give the link later at the end of the session in another 10 minutes. Yes? Shall I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This asymptotic notation, that's all. You have to relate these asymptotic notations for all the data structures that we are going to discuss hereafter. Now, we move on to that first data structure. Yesterday itself, I have started that list. Let's see some important operations with respect to list. The list is an ordered sequence of data items. The data items can also be called as what? Elements. Yes. Normally, initially your list size is empty. Then your size is 0. Assume any list A1, A2, A3, etc. up to AN of size what? N. N can be 10, N can be 100,000 or anything. So for any list, just for general representation I am mentioning, your list is A1, A2, etc. For any number A of I can be what? The third element or fourth element like that. Then A of I plus 1 is its successor. That means what? Next element. Why it's mentioning means we are having some function. Find next, find previous like that. Yes. If A of I is my element, then A of I plus 1 is the successor element. For same A of I means you can substitute that I value to anything, 31 or 22 or anything. Suppose if my array size is 15 means if A of I value is 23 means what is its successor? Then it has to retrieve the 24th element. Predecessor means what? The previous element, A of I minus 1. These two functions, they are used in list. Previous, find previous and find next. The exact position of A of I is given as what? I need to find the element 53 position. You have to search where that element 53 is there. It may be in A of 2, it may be in A of 15 like that. Yes. So these are the small functions that we can do on list. The first element in the list is called as head and the last element is called as tail. These are the different operations that can be performed on list. Yes, make empty. That means assume that your list is having some elements. It may have some elements or may not have. You have to check whether your list is empty or not. That is your make empty function. Then print list. Just I have put the words itself. At the end, assume open and close parentheses are there. These are the functions. Make empty of, print list of, find kth. Yes, in the programming, we'll see that exact function. Just I mentioned the names itself. Print list means what? It will display all the elements that are present currently in the list. You can either insert the elements, then you can print. You may delete some 2-3 elements, then you may print. Okay. At that particular point, what are the elements present in the list? They are. It is given as the print list function. Then find function. Find and find kth. What's the difference between find and find kth element? Can anyone tell? Find means what? Find the first element in the list. Normally it will go to the head, first element of the list. It will find the element. What element is there? Find kth means what? Kth position. Find the element in the 10th position. Find the element in the 4th position. Like that. Yes? That is the find kth means find particular element, particular position. Insert. Insert also you can insert at particular position or you can insert in the beginning of the list itself, adding the elements. Then delete. Then as told in the previous slide, next and previous. Finding the next element in the list and finding the previous predecessor element. Next means what? Successor element. Just a simple example. With this we move on to the quiz. Assume these are the elements of the list. In the next class, we will see in detail about the array implementation of list with routines using that whiteboard, as we have seen yesterday. Here, there is no need to work out here, so just I stopped with this PPT itself, as we dealt mainly on that algorithm analysis. So, in this list, we are having some 5 elements, 34, 12, 52, 16, and then 12. It's not necessary that the element should not be repeated, so only I have mentioned. 12 is repeated twice. It can be. I can have any number of it's just an ordered sequence of elements. It's not at all mentioned that the element should not be repeated. It's not mandatory. Elements can be repeated in a list. Yes. Now I am using one function called find of 52. Find of particular element. I mentioned here not the first element, for insert only. For insert there are 2 operations. Insert in the beginning or insert in the particular position. Okay. Just simply find means finding the particular element. Find kth means finding the element in the particular position. That is the difference. Yes, I told it in a different way. So find of 52. Where 52 is there? 52 is in the 3rd position. But the array, if I am going to use array means a of 0, a of 1 and a of 2. Don't say it as 2. It is in the 3rd position. Because we are counting the position from 1, 2, 3. Only your array index starts from 0, 1, 2. Don't get confused. So 52 in the 3rd position. So it will return the value 3. Got it? Now, another function, insert of 20, 4. 20, 4 means what? First thing is the element. The next number is your position. The element 20 to be inserted in the 4th place. This is the logic. This is the syntax to be followed. Insert of within bracket element comma position. If I am mentioning just insert of 20 means where 20 will be inserted, it will be inserted in the 1st place, 1st position before 34. It will be added. If I am specifying the position means it will be inserted there. 20, 4, 4th position. In 4th position, which element is there? 16 is there before insertion. So before 16 you have to add. So 20 will be inserted. Now your list size becomes 6. Okay. Now delete 52. Directly it will delete that element. It will move the elements 20, 16 and 12 one step behind. Because that space is empty now. The space is empty. I will explain in detail in the whiteboard in our next class. So delete. After deletion, your size again becomes 5. Now find kth of 3. Kth means kth position. Find the element in the position 3. Which element is there? 20 is there. So these are the different operations that can be done on a list. We will see in detail about the array implementation of list in our next class with routines. Yes. So coming back to this one, I will quickly log in. Don't leave the meeting, activity is there. I didn't stop the class. I'll put that link now in the chat. Because time is enough, 3 more minutes there.